Smacking, cracking, and watching. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe. The Sinner, episode 4 of 8. This episode is called Part 4. Let's get to it. Last week on The Sinner, Mason was experiencing so many emotions: anger, frustration. He even went as far as to confront JD, trying to locate pieces of the truth. The guy's wife murdered someone right in front of him and their small child. Give him a break. The man is simply trying to determine something that he missed along the way. Some sign was blinking, and he's trying to locate it. When and where did it happen? If anything, we just know Cora is emotionally disconnected to everyone since childhood, and it grew and it went with her throughout her entire adult life. She's having these flashbacks of someone stepping on her sternum. We don't know if anything she says is the truth. We are figuring this out along with the detective, or maybe a step ahead of the detective. Battling his own inner demons, his home, his fetishes, his work life. It feels like his friends are so far gone from reality that they have no idea what he goes through. In the last episode, we also discovered lots and lots of personalities and disassociations. I would love to see more of the auntie from Devious Maids. I want to know about her influence, involvement that the auntie had with the girls. I feel like religion has a lot to do with this family that Cora's from. I'm sure they'll bring more religious questioning. I want to know more about this sister. You know, my best friend watches this show. Shouts out to best friend. Her predictions, she felt that Phoebe grew up and she was able to leave the house and go do things, and maybe Phoebe was out and about when, maybe Phoebe was involved with some of Cora's doings. They never quite said what type of Dr. Frankie was, and that's the only reason that makes me believe, okay, it was him. She knows his voice. It jarred her when she saw him. He recognized her. I feel like it was that type of, like I said, Iron Fist from Netflix moment of he was the person who kept asking her and kept beating her and kept making her do the same thing over and over again. That's what I felt. But we're in search of the truth, and we'll find it out. A couple more questions for you guys regarding the previous episode. Do you guys think that Cora is in a battle with her motherly instincts because of how her mother treated her to how she treats her son? What do you think? What's the deal with the scalp sore, the scalp wound? Do you think that has anything to do with how she's not telling the truth? Some type of brain injury? What do you think? Cora is covering her tracks. She is not stupid. She's well aware of what she's doing. She knows. She knows. Top of the second episode, when her son walked out the house with that blankie and we heard a car horn beep. Do you think, and then she woke up in her jail cell, Cora's trigger is bells and horns also? When Cora had the evaluation to see if she was capable of going through the whole process of the trial, the person said, "What would you say to your 13-year-old self?" She said, "I'd run." She said, "Run." The man Caleb said he found her in the middle of the street and they were talking about how she could have ran and just fell out from exhaustion. Running, does that have something to do with all of this mess? 4th of July weekend, a couple years back, Phoebe has a holiday birthday around the 4th. Did Phoebe have something to do with all this mess? Was Phoebe there when it happened? Was this the moment that Cora felt she should be rebellious? Was this her first time being rebellious and out the house? Because she's a 23-year-old runaway. She just happened to leave the nest the weekend of her sister's birthday when she was an adult. When the detective went to Cora's parents' house, the mom had fresh wounds on her neck and her hands, and she was she kept wringing her hands, wringing her wrist. And Cora has these wounds that probably not from drug use. Do you think that has something to do with the scars? Can't believe she lied to her husband about that, saying it was a hospital infection. I can't believe that he was so gullible that he believed her. Do you believe the auntie is holding back? This auntie actress from Devious Maids. I think she's holding back. I think she knows more. Something major. She said, "What signs did I ignore? What signs did I miss?" The same thing that Mason's struggling with. My best friend said that Cora is basically going to try to play off of a sympathetic jury. Do you guys think so? On this ugly long trial that she's going to go through right now. In that whole scene where people are doing what they're doing in the wallpaper, I guess, I don't know. When the girl whispers in an ear, she says, give her something to relax. And then we know that whole sternum press or whatnot. What do you guys think about? What do you think about it? Do you think she was high as a kite? They were drugging and rock and roll and having relations, wanted and unwanted, forced and not forced. And in order for that person to come to, they crushed her to try to make an adrenaline situation to where you would come to instead of dying. What do you think? The sinner because you're supposed to repent for your wrongdoings. She's been raised that anytime she does something wrong, Korra was speaking about, and anytime Korra does something wrong, she is to fall on her knees and pray for forgiveness because it's always her fault. Instead of, the show could have easily been called Korra if she felt right about things, but instead her whole life she's been labeled as a sinner, never Korra. What if the person in green isn't Frankie? What if it's Frankie's dad? Remember in the interview when the detective went to Frankie's father's house, the mom was all distraught, but the dad seemed like, What if Frankie's just following in his father's footsteps to be some sort of doctor, and the doctor, daddy, messed Korra up? Now let's get into this episode. Korra having the flashback in both therapy sessions regarding the school bus passing her by, making her feel invisible. The detective located the school bus in the middle of the wooded area. It was broken down, almost how she felt broken down. The passenger compartment and the engine, which need to be together to work, they were completely separated, much like the whole disconnect situation with Korra. Her emotions and the fact that she needs stability is just disconnected. What do y'all think? Is the cop scene necessary as far as the cop and Mason? Is it really going to come into play that much that we need to know that they were together back in the day, that she's willing to tell him every detail because of whatever reason? Do we really need that? Can the show advance without their relationship? Being promiscuous. We have JD and Korra on the table. Phoebe and Korra watching flicks on the laptop at home. The father cheating on the mother, going to the neighbors to handle his business. Then we have Maddie and JD and the landlord doing their deal. It's all of this coming into play. And then Korra has this weird deal to where it's like she wanted to sacrifice herself to prevent her father from leaving the house. Did y'all get that vibe too? Then we have temptations, the temptation of the detective being unable. I mean, he's having these beautiful moments with his spouse. He's been hiking. He's been out with friends, wine, and you should be relaxing. You're having this beautiful lunch with this lady who you care about, but you still resort to the slums and sick fetishes with your mistress. Temptations. And on top of that, every time you're out, you're thinking about the case and something hits your head every time. Instead of him staying in the moment, he's off. It's like that woman is his trigger to help him come up with the clues of solving this case. Therapy session number 1. Korra saying her feet feel stuck in the woods. She sees the water tower. JD's ex Maddie comes into play. She's saying it's a plan and they're in on it, but yet you taking a pill from a stranger. This white pill. What substance is it? Who makes the pill? When Korra kissed JD, she said she could taste the gasoline. And I knew at that point, okay, he siphoned gas. But didn't they just say in the interview room that this guy is privileged? He has money. So why is this prior to him getting money? If you're so privileged, why are you resorting to being so ratchet by siphoning gas? Then Maddie hates her and she clicks. Meanwhile, the detective is trying to pinpoint the exact location where maybe something happened. We're pretty sure something. I'm guessing something. I mean, we all know something happened. How does JD and Frankie know each other? I'm thinking they're rich buddies. They have this secret club that they go handle weird stuff at. That was my mindset at that point when he had this graphed up, when he was trying to pinpoint the radius. They're in some type of brotherhood club deal as far as Frankie and JD. They gave it to us all out of whack, so it's kind of like I'm recalling it out of whack too. I know we talked about being promiscuous, temptations. Now we're going to talk about pressure, because Phoebe pressures Korra into doing everything. She is the prime reason why Cora does worldly things, I feel. How could someone so much younger than you put you in the position to do stuff? You went over there to the neighbor and you had absolutely no reaction to seeing something up front that you know what I mean? Most people would be like, ah! And none of that came out of her. And then for her to say what she said when her sister talked, so you lied to the detective by saying JD was your first. Truly, he wasn't. She's so detached from, Cora is so detached from emotions that it is mind-boggling. Part 2 of the therapy session, she's saying they were dancing, they were getting in the truck. Where are you going? They're looking for us. Who is looking for you? So now it's JD and someone else. Is it Frankie? She's saying that they're being hunted. And at that point, I'm like, all right, these are some privileged folks who feel they need to hunt humans and, you know, some weird fetish. That's another fetish thing that's going on in this series. And then the bus passes by fast. Is it because while they were running, she ran past the school bus that is right there, that they go through the school? Maybe the school bus is like, hey, this is the, it's the building on top of what is underground that we know. Maybe. What do y'all think? So that woman in the very first episode that's saying, "Are you coming, Cora?" We know it's Maddie. So they go to the basement of this building. The music's playing and it's Frankie's band song. We see all this texture on the walls, this textured paint, textured wallpaper type stuff. So we know downstairs in that basement, beneath that stairwell, is where whatever happened. And then the bell rings. And I said, oh, I was right with my little thing with the bells. The horns and bells trigger her. Something's up with that. It's signifying something is up next. Something's going on. It's not a good bell. We see the masked doctor. The crack of bones happens. And I'm like, yo, this is some madness going on up in there. Cora refers to this wallpaper as being like a dollar bill print. It's a lot going on this episode. In the very final scene, like I said, when they found possibly Maddie's corpse, I'm thinking underneath. Have no idea where they're going with it. This episode was very, very interesting. Y'all know at the end of every episode, I do a rating of 1 to 10 on a scale to see how I would rate it. And it goes a little something like this. You know what? This one is a hard one. It had some 7.5 areas in the beginning. It had confusing areas also because it's out of sequence and it confuses. You know, it's like, okay, we're not. She's an adult. She's present. She's at the bar as a young adult. Teenager. She's a child, and it's all going. Just, I don't know. I'm gonna go with 8.5. 8.5. Next episode will probably be something because we now know the location. They're going to get the digging and going underneath. We know which water tower it was near. And JD's going to go back in for questioning, I'm sure. Drop a comment below. I know it was a lot of questions. It was a whole lot of hmms. But until next week, peace out. Be safe. Drink water. Love yourself. Love your friends. Treat your family right. Peace.